Welcome back to the European Challenger Series Spring Split. We're back into our second game here, and first one, pretty cut and dry, honestly, as you put it.
Yeah.
Win game, win lane, win game.
You
win game,
very
win lane.
rarely see a game that one-sided. Like, there really was nothing that SK did in that game.
Well, like, once.
It was almost as if they loaded into the game and were like, let's go next.
Yeah.
Redo? Can we get
Remake?
a redo on this?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just but like it just seemed even from like minute 4, SK were on the back foot. Bottom lane was going even for a while, but then you look at it, it's Lucian Braum into a Tristana lane, so you would expect SK to come out ahead. Yes, there's a Janna in that lane, makes it very difficult to trade, but as we talked about it, like Lucian Braum can trade through that shield. You can trade around that shield as well. Like, that is not a 2v2 that should have gone that far out in favor without massive jungle pressure.
Yeah.
There was like a gank, I think, and that was from Max Law once, and he got a flash.
Sure, I mean, it was also because of like the failed gank in the bottom lane, because they jumped in, like Zac got blobbed up and they didn't have teleports to save him, and then, you know, the lane just kind of snowballed out of control, because they were kind of even, but they were never going to win that lane, and they did have the potential to win, but I mean, again, that highlights the problem with the bot lane.
And one of the biggest issues was with that fight in the topside jungle, not too far from the blue buff. We're actually going to take another look at it. And you can just see that, like, look at how much of an issue this is for SK. Their damage dealer is already chunked out. It's way too early for Ryze to be in this. Fardax dashes in to a Shen taunt and then has to flash, and kind of flashes in line with the rest of the damage from Inspire. Like, there's no way you win that team fight with what just happened from the AD carry from SK. Like, that's just not going to work.
It was really weird. It's like just jumping in front of a freight train. It's just like, here, take me out, and then, yeah, I don't know, just don't do that. Don't walk in melee range of a Shen.
Yeah.
It's just not good. In top lane as well, Morsu just kept not landing Steadfast Presence over and over and over again. Like, every single time the taunt would just land, and it seriously became a problem. Like, he started getting pressured out by a Shen even after that that first, like, level 1 fiasco, I guess, in front of the tower. But even so, like, you can salvage that lane as Poppy. If you block him every single time when he jumps in with Shadow Dash, you can trade back onto him.
Yeah.
But if he jumps on you, gets the taunt, and sets up, what can you do?
It's kind of frustrating to even see these individual mistakes from the likes of Morsu and that, because, you know, he went from being one of the challenger top laners that was just like, this guy is good at top lane. Like, we expect him to maybe even be looked at by LCS teams. This split is just not working for him. He's got Whirlib to play up against. He's got Kaze, who's come out of nowhere. When it comes to the challenger scene. They played in a couple of qualifiers, but that's it. And this guy is bodying people, just left, right, and center.
Straight up, and it's really weird, honestly. Like, Morsu, however, has been playing Tam Kenshin Poppy, and like, Poppy deals a lot of damage, but she does not deal the damage.
Not this again, Pulse. You got proved earlier.
Yes, but this statement is true. She does not deal as much damage as like a Fiora. Like, as a carry in the top lane, it's just not the same. And I would like to see him just on like another pure carry top laner that's not Poppy.
Okay.
And just see what he can do with it, because so far we haven't seen it. And you're right, he used to be that top laner, no matter what he was playing, usually carries, that would always just get more CS than his opponent. He would always win.
I hope we see like a Poppy Fiora matchup, and then at the end of it, I'm just going to click the damage done grab. and Poppy's just going to be off the chart.
Like, be like, whatever, I give up, I'm out.
Yeah.
Twist of the Fate again, Suno. Everything else is pretty similar, apart from the Shen, which is banned out by Sartorius.
Lucian banned out away this time. Corki has got through for the first time today.
Well,
Inspire, get their hands on that. Could be mid lane, could be AD carry. There is a lot of versatility there. I believe CosQ played it last week.
Maybe.
He has one game of Corki, yeah.
Could see a Graves rotation here, maybe by SK. What else is up? Alistair's banned. What else is available? We could go some flex picks, maybe like
Graves.
Lysandra.
Poppy is up as well.
Poppy?
We've seen a lot of Braum today. Seen a bit of Morgana.
Yeah.
What did SK prioritize last time? Looking at the draft, they went Lucian, Poppy, and Braum. So if that was their priority last time, and the Lucian is up, the Poppy and the Braum are up. So if you want to run the same thing again, Braum good into Corki as well. Is good at denying poke.
That's not what I expected.
Honestly, that is one of the most confusing first rotations in a draft I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. So support and jungle Janna, Zac.
Why the Zac? I mean, you've got engage, disengage. Neither of these are top meta picks.
Correct.
So what are you aiming for with this first rotation here? Is it comfort?
Maybe,
because
I'm just not seeing synergy.
Neither of these two are top tier picks, which doesn't necessarily make it a bad pick.
Sure.
I just think the pacing in the draft, you've already given Corki, now you're giving over Poppy, Graves,
Yeah.
the Braum,
Everything.
which denies the Poppy. Like, there's no chance of them taking Braum now. Like, the pace of this draft is so important. That's what you see in LCS. It's like they're so meticulously planned to go, OP pick one side, taken away. So Inspire, show us where the Corki's going. This is going mid now with an 80 carry locked in.
Additionally, every jungler is up now for
Yeah.
Inspire, so they didn't even need to lock in the Graves right now. It does give it over to SK for a potential top lane for Morsu.
And now with the reason the Ezreal is here is Lucian is banned, Kalista is banned, Corki is gone, Ezreal's gone, Misfortune,
Caitlyn.
Kindred 80 carry, and Caitlyn are the three that we'd see.
Yeah. Okay, so probably going to see one of the three from Vardags here. And then, Zac and Janna. Like, Janna's fine. Like, if you run, Disengage with, a Caitlyn, and then you have some engage from Zac, and then you build a rest of composition around that, I can see that.
I think they've given too much over.
I kind of like Morsu to run Graves here, actually, against the Poppy in the top lane if it is Poppy.
Yeah, possibly. Okay.
That's that's a Syndra
Syndra's
lock-in,
locked in, that's been played.
That's more of a comfort champion again.
Whoa. Sivir
actually
is
gets
now
locked
played. Oh. We have seen Sivir in, I think it's 1 or 2 games of LPL. Haven't seen it in EU LCS.
But that fits the LPL style. Like, that's how the region plays. And also, they've changed their top lanes as well to fit around that. They fit the whole composition around that. That's the difference with, that region and their style versus, EU LCS and, the Western regions. You can't just plug and play a single pick.
So the biggest problem I have right here is SK, in 4 picks, have failed to get a top-tier pick in any of these roles.
Yeah.
And I'm generally a believer that top-tier picks are top-tier for a reason. They're not necessary to win a draft. You absolutely can win a draft by utilizing other compositions, but when they're available, champions like the Poppy, okay, Morsu didn't have the greatest game on it last game, these are staple picks that you have to take off the table, otherwise you're giving power picks over to Inspire.
It's complete opposites right now. You have a priority pick on pretty much everyone from Inspire, maybe apart from the Agile, but it fits in here because of the draft and how it's gone. And then the Braum and the Graves is picked up.
So, what do these picks from SK do, is what we have to look at here. Is you've got the engage potential from Zac and from Sivir going forward. You've got catch potential from a Syndra. Disengage comes from Janna, and now with the Quinn locked in, you have the ability to carry from top lane. That feels like they're just trying to set up for a 4-1 at this point. All of their picks have mobility, the ability to get away from a fight. Syndra provides disengage as well as Janna. So there is a clear understanding of what they're looking for here, but this is a difficult composition for SK to pull off.
This is what you call a Hail Mary right here.
This is real tough to pull off for SK. Playing disengage against Poke with the essence of engage, let's not count out Zac plus Sivir, is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, but you can also use the Sivir Ultimate for disengage as well, but you're looking for pick. You're looking to snowball from the Quinn and the Zac early game, trying to start picking up kills there, then utilize the Syndra and then maybe snowball in one of those lanes. If you snowball on the Quinn or the Syndra, you can get out of control, but that doesn't happen all the time in competitive. We've seen, Quinn's been shut down hard in the top lane. Likewise with Syndra, both in the LCS and EUCS. Sebex, for example, has run the Syndra recently, and you can get shut down real hard. It is a Hail Mary. You go in, you jump it and you get early kills and you snowball, or you get shut down at the 5-minute mark and then find it so difficult to come back against a composition who have very clear goals. You have Poke from mid lane, AD carry, you can zone them away, you have a lot of ways to stop a fight from happening, disengage from Braum.
I just feel like after how game 1 went, this is picking yourself into a corner. This is so tough. Yes, Inspire will need a little bit of extra time to get the Ezreal online, but it's going to be CosQ that's the one that they have to deal with up front, because Corki mid spikes so early on in the game.
Well, maybe you can't beat them on a level playing field, so you tilt the playing field with these picks, and then you try something different. We'll see if it works. We'll see if you agree. Use those hashtags, hashtag SKWin and IEWin, and tell us what you think on Twitter. Because so far, at this current moment, I don't know what to make of it. We'll just have to see how it does in the next couple minutes, because it really is snowball or bust.
So looking at things that come from this SK comp, because I always, whenever I see a comp like this, I always try and find out, like, or try and think about, like, what are they looking for from this composition? Because there is a reason that they've been picked. It's just deciphering what they were looking for.
Yeah.
So Sivir,
Enigma code.
Yeah, exactly. Sivir's going to have wave clear, as always, with that engage potential as well. Also, into Ezreal isn't the worst. You have Spell Shield. You have, you know, the ability to stand behind minions as well. So shouldn't get pressured out. So Sivir Janna is a duo lane that should get out of this, at least even if not ahead. But obviously Ezreal isn't looking to win the laning phase very often. He's just going to come out of the laning phase and hope he's not behind.
Yep. Stack up your tier, build up, hit the item spikes, and then become a massive pain in the mid-game and late game. It's actually surprising how much damage blue build Ez does nowadays compared to old blue build Ez, which was like scaling off in the late game, but typically good in the mid game.
Now it's just really annoying and does damage. That's the worst part.
Actually, the worst. Well, light goes into the top side, so we're going to see a lane swap coming in from Inspire. That would put the Poppy with the duo jungle starting off on the enemy side, and because they won the vision in the start of the game on that side of the map. They just take it away.
They actually could just go up to red as well.
They could.
So the reason that they're not doing it is that they're making sure that .go isn't doing some kind of path where he goes straight over to red. So they just take one of the small camps, slow down the experience at least onto .go, and Morsu's already bottom lane, so they know .go is actually going to be fairly slow. So a bit weird, but nevertheless, that's what Inspire feel comfortable with. Unlimited's going to come through the jungle and spot that blue's gone, gives them the information that they have to have been on that side.
Meaning also they didn't take red as well, so it means they can go for a full clear rather than the fast clear. And Wendelbo actually just do a bit of damage onto .go. Not going to really end up in too much. Nice trade in the mid lane by Suno, actually. Did get the better of CosQ in that one. It usually is so hard to trade against Corki in the mid lane. Yeah,
he was getting out-traded earlier on, just before the level 2 mark, so Suno managing to turn it around. Corki mid is so frustrating to deal with. One of the champions that wasn't really hindered by the changes to Thunderlords. Of course, Thunderlords now has a smaller window to actually stack up. Corki just hit that Gatling gun, and you're good. You're good to go. Or you auto-Q auto. Again, just anything makes it really easy. For those of you that maybe want to check out Corki, there's an article on LoL eSports.
Written by
about
some
perks.
guy.
Yeah, some guy.
Yep. It's quite a good article. I want to jump back onto Suno in the mid lane with Syndra, though, as they go for this trade. He hasn't gone for Biscuits and has gone for Thunderlords, telling me that he's probably gone for Assassin. So he's looking for a more damage-orientated Mastery Tree and also Rune setup, meaning he is just trying to win as hard as possible. That's like a confidence thing, because it's going to take a little bit more damage because you don't have the defensiveness, but you do like deal more damage, and if you outplay your opponent, you get rewarded for it. So it's just interesting what he's decided to do here.
You see the Sivir is pretty decent at pushing herself as well. Same with Morsu when, if ever they're together, towers go down really quickly. Oh, CosQ, that's so painful. That's really painful. CosQ's auto attack speed didn't allow him to pick up the range minion as it went under the tower, and it was on like no health, and he was like, no! Lost 2 CS to it.
It's the small
worst
things.
feeling.
It's the small things when you play League of Legends, like losing that one minion because of like, you know, auto attacks.
Huh.
Oh, going into the top lane. This will be spotted out as there is a ward there. Morsu does have his flash, may have to use it. There it is. And that will be the end of that chapter.
So the was about the fact that we've got a Frost Queen's Claim build on a mid laner. On Suno. So, looking for catch potential. Slow people down, easier to hit the Q stun, the QE combo from Syndra. We have seen the decline of Frost Queen's Claim, though. Obviously, with the nerfs to Frost Queen's Claim and the buffs to Morellonomicon and Athene's, it does make a little bit more economical sense when you look at, you know, just kind of value of items. You have to now compensate for the fact that it's a 90-second cooldown on that catch potential from Frost Queen's Claim. Correct. It's not the biggest nerf, but it does somewhat change things a little bit.
Yeah, you have to think about when you want to use it rather than hitting it as soon as it comes up now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it used to be 60 seconds before, and it's just like pretty absurd. However, now with a previous nerf, it goes from 2 to 5 seconds depending on the distance from them. So you could get a very short slow if you're very close to them. I'm just looking at how phase 2 of this lane swap is going. We see Inspire pushing up the top lane and moving on to the second tower. Bot lane is actually recalling from SK. I think they're behind the play.
They are, because now Wendelbo and the rest of Inspire have pushed up. They can't take this turret yet. There is a minion wave joining them, but they're going to try and cut the wave from behind. SK may just look to defend this, because they are 3v4 with the turret, which means Inspire are going to take a lot of damage on the retreat if that minion wave was not there, but SK managed to hold for now.
So ultimately, he didn't lose too much from that one because the tower didn't take that much damage. Bot lane also went down, so they trade 2 for 2 towers overall after that whole lane swap went down. So not too bad in terms of how the top laners did. Morsu is slightly ahead of Sartorius in terms of farm.
It's the experience, though, that'll do it if they return to a 1v1. Sartorius is behind Morsu. Not quite a full level's worth of experience, but Morsu is level 4 to Sartorius level 3. So that is something we got to keep track of if Inspire keep grouping around. However, this game is a lot closer and is actually in favor of SK for now when it comes to just the gold, ever so slightly. But, you know, doesn't matter whether it's, you know, an inch or a mile. It's still a lead.
Yeah, very much the silver linings, and I guess you'd know a lot about that one, Stress. But anyway, in the bottom lane...
Always looking at the bright side, that's why, Pulse. That's why I'm always looking at the silver linings of things. But Inspire right now managing to look for a Rift Herald. They know with that tower gone from the top side and Vardag's farming out the wave behind, there's not really anything that can stop them.
We're talking about the top lane matchup. Now Morsu is getting further and further ahead in terms of CS. Additionally, he was level 4 versus level 5, which is not a big deal in that matchup. Now he's level 5 versus level 4, so has more damage on his Q in terms of trading. But there's very interesting things when it comes like to after lane swaps and you see the one-on-ones happen again, where you just arrive at different levels. And it just depends on your spikes and how much damage you can deal and how you start trading with your opponent. Right now it's fine for Sartorius, but had there been like different levels, for example, like level 2 versus like, you know, 3, that's like a big deal.
And look at how afraid Vardags is, though. Like, Vardags is afraid to step up to the wave. He didn't need to yet because the minions weren't too low, but without that tower being there, without the wards being there for SK, I mean, look at the topside wards for SK. They've got one by Raptor Camp, and that is it. So Vardags stepping forward there, he's right to be afraid, just in case somebody else is there, but just highlights the fact that SK aren't playing around Vardags taking, you know, any farm around the side lane.
And the fan vote is definitely reflecting the Game 1 performance and just how good Inspire have looked so far. Wendelbo even just bringing up the Unbreakable to mitigate some of the damage coming in from the minions there. That's nice to see. Maxlaw in the top lane has level 6 now.
Okay, so now Vardags is being greedy. Because look at his position on the map, like how far up the lane he is without wards. He's gone from being scared to greedy, all in a very short space of time. He knows that they can't really capitalize just from the fact that Corki's on the map. They know it can only be Graves and Poppy. What they do have to be careful of is if Corki drops back in this matchup, he gets the package and comes straight to the lane.
Ooh, nice.
Good knockback.
Scatter the weak onto Maxlaw. Kozku just lands an auto attack and an ult as he backs away. Dotgo is now in the opposing jungle of Maxlaw. He's not really in danger of being bursted down by the Graves right now. Top lane, Vardags and Unlimited. Sartorius is clearing away this minion wave. Mid lane, Suna's getting a bit more damage. I just saw top lane Sartorius not able to get a melee minion because his damage after a tower shot hits from Hammer Shock is 2 health off away getting the minion. It's one of the worst feelings when you're trying to CS underneath tower. And it's just like, well, now I need to use E or something to finish that last hit. So.
The worst feeling is a mid laner when you're like low AD, you just can't auto attack.
And then you miss the whole wave as it hits turrets. It's like, oh no.
God, I think it's Brand that really frustrates me for that.
Yeah.
It's just like,
what?
Huh.
I mean, he really didn't like that ward.
I mean, it's, collateral damage is not the longest of cooldowns, so Maxwell's like, I'm just going to do this quick. Gets himself back out of there. So, Vardags didn't get punished for pushing up. They had good read. Okay, I'm going to rant.
All right, I'm going to sit down for this one.
I really dislike Hex Drinker before finishing your Trinity Force on Corki. So the reason Corki is such a good pick is you get the Trinity Force, you get Sorcerer's Boots, and you group immediately. And there is almost nothing you can do to stop it. Yes, Koskyu has the package and he goes aggressive on Morsu. He has a lot of damage. I won't die from this.
That was actually a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I was like, I think he's good. Force bomb, bam! And then the kill.
Okay, so I'm going to stay ranting.
So what were you saying about Hex Drinker?
Okay, so Hex Drinker, as an item, obviously is a defensive item, and it's kind of that midpoint between defensive and aggressive. The reason I don't like it is just because it slows down your Trinity Force by 1300, which slows your whole team down. There's a fight top lane.
We'll get back to it because Wendelbo has been CC'd up as Suno is now heading in 4 versus 2 on the retreat. Morsu in from the side, the roam, the kill, and Warlight is also just taken down, locked up with the CC chain. In bot lane, though, they're going to take a tower for it, so actually net gain over to Inspire.
Gold gain over to Inspire. SK do, however, get a little bit of pacing from that using the Quinn. And Corki pushing down in the bottom lane. It seems like he doesn't even need the Triforce to be pushing. No one was against him. I'm not the only one that kind of feels this way. Just to round out the point, smooth it over, and make people maybe not hate my opinion on it so much. I was talking to Perks about it on the Analyst Desk when we were doing an interview with him, and he was like, I don't know what Power of Evil was doing with a Hex Drinker. Like, why would he slow it down? So, we've seen it before. I just dislike it.
Specifically in that Power of Evil game, they won a fight immediately after picking up the Hex Drinker, which allows them to pick up the Triforce. There was that small window in that game where they could have been punished for it.
Right.
In this one, it now also opens up another window where SK can punish them with a team which could definitely do it with Syndra and Morsu on Quinn.
But Koskyu compensates by making a play on bottom lane, gets the first kill onto Morsu, gets the tower, and that acceleration just from the play from the package completely kind of makes up for it. So, I mean, Inspire aren't going to be afraid of grouping anyway right now. It doesn't matter that the Triforce isn't complete for them because they are fairly strong. They're not considerably far ahead like last game, but still, Inspire are in a decent spot.
I need to see how much Morsu can do on a pure carry this game, because now he's on Quinn. What's that stress?
I want to rant again.
All right.
Swiftness boots on Corki. Sorcerer's Shoes are so good! Corki is like 70% magic damage. Oh, Sorcerer's Boots is so much better as an option. Like, okay, there's Spooky Ghost on the other side. I will concede that you need the slow reduction on that. I just think it's not worth getting rid of all that magic pen for.
But Swifties are so cheap. You feel so good when you buy them. Additionally, you just picked up a kill, which was the difference between going Swiftness Boots and Sorcerer's Boots. So you could have put the gold there. And now SK are pushing in the middle lane. They are not sitting down, looking for a counterplay here. They are not actually going to even take down the turret, and Satori is coming in with the flank, and Suno knocked into the team. We'll be taking a bit more damage from Koskyu on the way out, and Vardak steps back into the Winter's Bite. He'll block the missile barrage with the spell shield, but now that's down. Mid lane is being pushed in here by Inspire. There's the ultimate being wound up by Sartorius. Use it on 2 members, and now Doko is alone with Unlimited underneath this tower. The tower should be taken out if someone hits it. There we go. And over to Inspire once again. Morsu is roaming in from the top side, has already popped behind enemy lines. So that was just a tower going down, and SK's play just did not pay off.
Yeah, you can see SK pop the Vardags ult to try and disengage, the Unlimited Janna ult to try and disengage as well. Like, SK just struggling with their comp. They are getting a tower though, so that'll do.
That'll do, Pig. Morsu will back away here. Ooh, Vardags has taken more damage, but yeah, so I want to see what Morsu can do right now, because he's gone for the Quinn build where you want to snowball. You go for the Ghost Blade. The next thing from here is whether he goes for Rapid Fire Cannon or goes for the Graves route where you go like Maw and Sterak's, because you can go one or the other. If you want to snowball, you go Rapid Fire Cannon, just build AD carry.
My head tells me he'll probably go a little bit tankier just from Morsu needing to survive.
Maybe.
But my heart tells me that Morsu's going flat damage, full damage, let's go.
2015 Morsu, maybe? We'll see.
Maybe that's what they need.
He's recalling, so we're about to find out.
The head was right.
All right. Yeah, Morsu used to be very much like a from the gut player, you know? Like, he follows hard, he just went in, he went for carries. Now he's just like, he's playing it smarter and doing worse.
I feel, okay, so I feel bad for Morsu from what we say, because it's like, we spend so long being like, Morsu should really play tanks. He should really play tanks. Starts playing tanks and starts building things tankier, and we're like, no, go back. Go, keep doing the other thing. Go back. Go back to the first one.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But unfortunately, Morsu cannot win in our books. But maybe this game he could win. 2-1-0. If he can get to the point where he can pop the carries, like Kozq and Woolite are going to be not very tanky, specifically against AD for a little bit. Once Woolite hits his Iceborne Gauntlet, he will be tanky. Kozq will not really build armor for a little bit, so he's open to Morsu's burst. If you take down Kozq in the mid lane, that's a really good trade.
It would be if they can get it. It does have barrier available though. There's the Trinity Force completed. Means I'll stop talking about that now. SK. This is a sign of a team that may...
Ooh. This could be good. The ultimate pop there on the hunt. Kozq splits up the fight, but is in the back and has been exhausted. He'll jump away with the second Valkyrie, and now the chase is on. Zac goes into the Blobless, and he'll be taken out. Ultimate coming in, the true shot onto Vardax, and he'll be backing off with his carries. But Suno has been split up nice out of the week with the Orb coming in there to get the CC down. But that was a 2-for-1, and another rocket hit on the way out. Again, Inspired to come up on top, despite SK having the advantage.
I mean, it's kind of frustrating to watch because for SK's sake, they seem to think that Inspire would value Rift Herald the same way that a Baron buff would be valued. That it's like, oh, they're doing Rift Herald, guys, we gotta go stop them.
Yep.
Like, yes, Inspire are walking into this, which actually makes the play valid. This is more Inspire just trying to create vision control in this area rather than stop a pick from happening. So the positioning actually worked out for SK at the start, but look at the extra damage that Inspire have. Like, Inspire have so much damage. Yes, Suno does manage to get off a kill and good damage now onto Woolite here, and Woolite doesn't want to follow up after that. But Inspire still come out pretty far ahead from that fight.
There are two things that were just mechanically really nice from Inspire in that last fight. One, the Valkyrie coming in, the package, split up the fight, cutting off Dotco from his team. So he had to fight alone versus the backline. And then second, Wendelbo's ultimate and also positioning. He was the only one who got hit by Dotco, and he also stopped him in his tracks. So Dotco couldn't get on top of the carriers with Let's Bounce. So from there, they couldn't unload onto the squishy targets that SK really wanted to do, and it just kind of fell apart.
And I always get a little bit nervous when you see a package go like straight through a team fight, because it's just like, oh, and then keep in mind, it actually resets the cooldown of Valkyrie. So you always get to Valk back out. It's just, it's okay. You can get right back out of the fight.
I also got exhausted, so that made me panic even more. But
yeah, that's true. Double Hex Drinker though on SK against this Syndra is pretty good, pretty solid against Zac as well, who does deal a little bit of magic damage himself. Surprising amount of magic damage actually, if he gets onto you and starts using a lot of his abilities, but. Nevertheless, SK are in a situation where they are just on wave clear mode right now.
That's basically what is happening. Mid lane, got that Frost Queen's plane that we talked about earlier. Looks like he's just going for Death Cap now. He's just going for raw damage. Max Law pretty much build as usual. You can see all these swiftness boosts being picked up as a response to double Frost Queen's claim. Top tower being taken out. Dotco lands again, the E onto Wendelbo, but the rest of the team is just closing in.
Oh, that is a lot of magic damage.
That is, but they can still follow up because Dotco doesn't have any more. That's the problem, and he doesn't have his passive. He'll just die by himself. Max Law could be a pick here, or not. Kozq is coming in from the top side, and he'll protect his jungler.
Yeah, Woolite just sending out the ult, just in case SK engaged forward. Has a fairly low cooldown, so it's not the end of the world. And Kozq's just going to go back to poke mode. I mean, this is a situation where you look at, like, SK declined to take the Braum, didn't take the Poppy, And look at what's now like pushing it in towards them. Sartorius didn't hit with that ult though.
But he does block Morsu. The vault is stopped in its tracks, and the middle tower goes down. That is all of the inner turrets and outer turrets gone down for Inspire. SK only have their inhibitor turrets remaining now. But yeah, I just love that mechanic, that players have figured out the best way to use like Poppy ultimates now, and like one great use is like walking up to a tower, spinning up the ultimate and using it to zone. And even if you don't hit, and even if you don't use it, you just got those couple seconds of people having to respect the fact you can bring down the hammer.
Yeah, it's still worth it. It's like, you may as well hit at that point. Yeah. Like, the fact that you zone so many people.
Spooky Ghosts. Just kind of shows the general direction of where Inspire are. Man, every time I want to read it as Infinity Edge. It's just ingrained into me, like, over years of just seeing IE.
Yeah, I mean, I still read it as like Internet Explorer. I'm just glad that it doesn't come with like a warning at the beginning when we load into game.
Yeah.
Would you like to make them your default team?
No.
No, just no. Definitely not. No disrespect to Inspire, but if there was a team called Internet Explorer, yeah. I would be pressing no every time.
They would also run Disengage every game and just like have super slow games.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what would happen. Luckily, they're running pokes. This is like, I'm going to stop with this now.
Anyway, so Vardex is just browsing the top jungle right now with .go. And IE will just be zoning away, putting down more wards. Morsu is sat in the bottom lane though. Has his teleport. Problem with Quinn with teleport is that there's very few places to teleport into that you don't just get gibbed. Like you have to have like a ward off to the side, like somewhere that you can then flank or get into the back lines. It's kind of like Rumble in that sense, and even worse because you don't build Zhonya's.
This is the moment perhaps where I let this game slip away. If SK can get the drive-by from .go, he wants to go straight in.
He's gonna land it onto no one. Sartorius just block it up, but then there's the ultimate from .go. He'll be CCing everyone down, but there's no team to really follow up on that. And now .go is caught up by himself, now going into his passive, and he'll be reconverging, but it's just not enough. He doesn't have the time, and Vardex is on the front lines by himself. Sartorius has been flown into the rest of the team. That was not a good Monsoon, and Suno will block some of the damage, but collateral damage on the overkill. Double kill out for Warlight, 4-4-0, and Morsu is by himself. Now they can't take the Baron. It's actually a raid boss.
Yeah, Morsu's too high health, well, too high damage, and IE don't have enough health at this point. But that is a convincing team fight going over to Inspire, and let's take another look at how this kicked off. I was wondering whether .go was going to try and drive by smite this, jump over the back with Zac and just keep on going. So there's the block from Sartorius, who has changed his name to Chris Hemsworth in this little sequence here. Out you go, Jana. No chance in that one. And from here, it's IE just having a bit of a split team fight, but they just have enough damage. Like, they can just deal with whoever they need to. Sartorius got helped by the Janna ult, I believe. Unlimited kind of just pushed him into Vardex and was like, here, take him. Double kill for Warlight to round that out.
You wanted the poppy for your birthday, right? Here you go. Oh, no, okay.
I said a lollipop.
Oh, man, that did not work out well. But now Inspire, at least the Baron's still up. SK did stop that from happening. But honestly, I think like the best play there from SK would have been just trying to drive-by smite with Zac. If you haven't seen it, because we don't see Zac very often, you can fly over the back of the pit, and then you were close enough to the objective to smite it, and then just leave.
Didn't you have that happen to you in a solo queue game the other day?
It was slightly different because, so it was an Udyr who got hit by a Poppy ult, and then it flew over Baron Pit while untargetable and smited the Baron from me. That was incredibly depressing.
There are some really weird interactions.
Yeah. So if you wanted to know if you can smite while being Poppy ulted, you can, because it happened to me.
Oh dear. My favorite one still is the one we saw in LCK, where Tahm Kench eats Poppy while Poppy's charging up her ult. And from inside Tahm Kench, they just go flying back towards their fountain.
It's like a boss battle, you know? You have to fight the boss from the inside, and
oh dear.
Good stuff. But you can also you can do it on the back of Baron Wall. You can do it on the
Morsu
Dragon
just showed
Wall.
bot lane with no TP.
Did. This is being... I feel like we've been in
And
this
he's not
situation
moving.
before.
He's not moving yet.
All right, drive-by.
Now he's moving. Okay.
Now is the time for the drive-by, if there was any time for it.
Oh.
But he's going for the engage.
Oh, he
It gets
got
blocked
blocked!
by Sartorius!
Oh.
He actually stood at the side, so because the radius from the W was wide enough, he just straight up stopped it.
Oh, that was so good.
Drive-by denial.
Definitely don't see him rolling at that point.
No.
Or hating. But, man, what does SK have to do? Like, this game's, again, another one that it was... For a while, it was fine for SK, but then they've just exploded this game apart.
Here comes Go with another engage. This may be good for SK as they're zoning away Wendelbow. Unleash Power will take down the support, but out so many resources just to kill Wendelbow, this push may actually just not stop.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be careful here, though. They are low health. Baron buff for, ever since a long time ago last season doesn't now regenerate you, so you have to respect your health bars at that point. You need to back away, especially against a Quinn, who is going to jump in and go, surprise, I can two-shot people. Yep. It'll be good. But anyway, at this point, with the Baron buff, they maintain it on 4 people. Means they can re-establish their push once again.
Problem is, the only person or 2 people that Morsu can really do a lot of damage to is 1 Kozuki and 2 Maxwell to a kind of an extent before he finishes Hysterics. Once he finishes Hysterics, he's done. But like Kozuki's not going to build like more defensive stats against AD, so he's the one that Morsu can kill. But he's always so far back.
Oh, he stopped Unlimited.
Unlimited's good. He's fine.
Yeah, he's okay for now.
We live in...
The real problem for SK in this game is they needed Morsu to become uncontrollable. The way SK won this game, or would have won this game, would have been Morsu being too much of a problem that IE can never group, because they have to send 2 people to deal with Morsu. And that hasn't happened.
Yeah, in a big way.
He's not had a bad game, but he's just not been enough of a threat.
But you run a composition like this, and you're declaring that you have to make it work by, snowballing out of control with like a pick. Like, depending on where the resources go early game, determines your game plan for the rest of the match. And they just couldn't snowball because the victory condition for them was making Morsu unduelable.
Watch Sartorius here. He's just denying the Zac engage, and he gets it again.
And now there's just turn on Dotgo and Morsu. Dotgo pops his ultimate, but he doesn't have his passive, I believe. No, he does, but he goes in, but the rest of the team is going to go down before he even comes back up. Now they turn around as Vardax gets chunked out. Woolite will be the one to finish off the last Bloblet. That'll be a 1 kill going over. The Baron buff is still alive. Maybe they can take bot lane as a minion wave is already pushing in, and probably take a second inhibitor before heading back. Sartorius is already going back to base. Morsu was thinking about jumping on top of him. Unleash Power. Maybe onto Maxwell here. Morsu jumps in, but even with the Sterix, will go down to Sartorius with the teleport. He comes back into the fight with a double kill over to Warlight. This could just be the game right here and now. The inhibitor goes down, and now with the rest of the minion wave still being buffed up by Baron, Inspire will come in and clean up the Nexus turret. Looking for another kill onto Suno perhaps, but that's the second Nexus turret, and it'll be onto the Nexus itself. Inspire with a 2-0 week over SK Gaming, completely destroyed.
Completely destroyed is the only way to put that series. SK, I mean, the 8 minutes, at the 8-minute point they were perhaps even in that game. Maybe a little bit later, but they were just, one fight in both games just blew the game apart. And SK just weren't running compositions that are easy to play, like at all. They gave away a lot in picks and bans in game 2. Pick themselves a composition that is far more complex than anything you need to play right now. And the game just goes away from them. There's not really too much more. It's like, that draft from SK was unbelievably weird.
Yeah, it was odd, but it felt like they were so far down in the series. It just felt like they just needed something to try and bring them back up, and maybe like, a Quinn that like had a lot of practice on, like Suno being like, I played a lot of Syndra, like I can make this work. Zac in the jungle. They're weird picks that are like pocket picks that they've played a bunch, and it's like they can try and just salvage. But
okay, so here's like my thinking on the other side of it is like, you want to pick Zac. What's the one champion in the game that completely defeats the point of almost everything Zach wants to do with his engage.
No stress. I think it begins with P and ends with Y.
And you leave it
sounds
open.
like Poppy.
You don't ban it, and then you first rotation the Zach before the Poppy is up. Like, it's still available. You could have gone Zach Poppy, and they're not going to take Janna away from you.
Yeah.
Like, I look at this draft and I get very confused and almost a little flustered. makes me feel a little insecure on this draft because I'm like, are they doing something that no other team is doing? Yeah, they're doing something no other team is doing. Giving away all the power picks and then taking kind of one for last in Quinn, which didn't have enough of an effect.
It's like you in Champions League, this is the meme. It's just like, oh, like the Metagross meme. It's like, oh man. But yeah, you're not gonna take away the Janna. Do you really need the Janna in the composition to make the composition work? I don't really think so. It's disengaged there with engage coming out. Then you have the Sivir for disengage or re-engage.
Yeah.
Put Vardax on a safe AD carry. I like it. But then the rest of the composition.
The thing is, I don't even think it's that safe an AD carry right now. Like, you look at the AD carry options that we've got. I mean, I even would have preferred the Kindred AD carry perhaps there. But for whatever reason, they're like Sivir, who almost nobody else is playing. Somewhere in my mind, there's like one Sivir game in the last 3 weeks, because I remember people talking about it being the first Sivir, but I, for the life of me, can't remember what game it was. But it just had no effect. A wave clear AD carry got significantly far behind on CS as well. Like, there was nothing SK could do in that game, by the looks of it.
You're so right. Like, I would have really loved to see a Kindred there, because then you pop the ultimate and the backline safe for a couple seconds. I think it just go back to that Poppy pick though. Like, just invalidating an entire composition and like the main engage, like every single time was just blocked up. Even the first time they picked Zac, Rek'Sai was able to stop it coming in with just a
the
knocker.
unburrow,
It's just like, really? Like, there's nothing they can do.
Well, I mean, enough about some of the shortcomings of that game. Let's hear from somebody that was on the winning side.
Indeed, and it will be Kozq on the line. Kozq, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised after a crushing victory there for you in 2 games. And just going over the games in general, how did you feel about them this week?
We practiced hard, and I think our game plans, like, we fulfilled it. We had game plans, and we did it as planned. So I think it went pretty well.
Yeah, it looked like, especially in game 1, you guys seem to have a game plan very decisively on, like, hey, we want Woolite to be ahead. So that was your conscious thought, is like, let's exploit the 2 versus 2 coming into this game?
But can you ask that again?
Yeah, sure. We were talking a little bit during the game about how it looked like you guys said, look, we want the 2 versus 2 bottom lane because we know that we can do so well from it. Was that the actual game plan coming into this week?
Well, it wasn't. It was also the game because our bot lane is pretty strong, so we wanted that as well. We wanted to do the 2v2. But the second, we tried to farm up Tristana and then just play the Lulu comp correctly, and then just group and siege like how it's supposed to be, and I think it went pretty well. And the second game, we just want to lane swap to avoid the Janna Lucian lane.
Talking about the drafts as well, it was very interesting from SK Gaming. They picked up the Zac and did the same in the second game, and you just responded to it. With the game plan in mind, how did that change how you went into the game? Were you actually actively thinking about, like, how am I going to play against the Quinn and these kind of weird picks, or was it just like you felt like they played into your hands?
Well, we expected a Quinn pick, actually. We expected that they would, because you checked just the message history of the player and stuff, so we expected they would pick Quinn. And our plan was just to lane swap and deny Quinn as well, because Poppy gets counted really hard by Quinn. So we just we were waiting. Yeah, we just lane swapped like you saw in the game, and it went pretty fine, I guess, because we also had a tower advantage. And yeah, that was it.
It was a pretty impressive set of games, to be honest. I want to talk a little bit about maybe looking forward to the rest of Challenger. You guys have faced some of the tougher opponents. You've faced the Copenhagen Wolves. What are your thoughts on your 2 remaining games here as we move forward in Challenger?
I think the 2 upcoming seeds we're going to play are probably beside us. Like, a lot of people think that we are the top 3. So I think they're going to be like the toughest games. And I think we have a good chance to actually win if we practice hard enough. So yeah, I don't know. They are the toughest though, the toughest teams that we're gonna be playing against this split.
Focusing kind of specifically on some of the teams, like looking at Millennium, for example, like the top team right now, what do you think they're doing so well in comparison to the rest of the teams? Because we definitely feel like Challenge has been so competitive this split, but what are they doing that maybe other teams are doing and something that you can incorporate as well?
I just think that the enemy teams play in Millennium's hands. That's what I think that's happening because, I don't know, like the jungler, yeah, he's like AFK farming and stuff. Like, I don't know. Yeah, people are just playing in their hands. Is what I think actually.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
the jungler is pretty strong, so.
We looking forward to seeing how your game goes up against Millennium, and the rest of the games here for you in Challenger. Thank you very much for joining us, Kozki.
Thank you.
Congrats on the win as well. But game plans, clear game plans coming into the series. Play them out. Wins the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cut and dry. Like, usually there's places to expand and be like, oh, they did this and did this. But game plan, everything, as you said, like, it played into their hands as well as Millennium, but it played into their hands in this series. And that's what they did, is it played it out, and yeah, it was kind of interesting. It's always funny when, like, League of Legends games go exactly to plan, because usually, like, you draft something out in Champion Select and you go over it in your mind and how it's going to go, but rarely does it, like, go exactly. It's just like, oh, well, we just got our AD carry fed and we just played around at 1. So
yeah, I mean, this is one of these situations where I'm like, well, there's not a lot else.
No, it's not like in
say.
chess, and it's just like your pawn just decides to do something random and just go right, and it's just like, oh, okay, that had just happened, you know? So everything was like absolutes.
Are you playing like Wizard's chess or something where the pawns are like moving different places?
No, like it is like chess. Like you tell a pawn to
chess,
go forward,
right?
and it goes forward. Like,
okay,
and that's what happened.
He's playing
the metaphor,
some weird
it's got
kind
somewhere
of
weird.
chess.
I'm gonna shut it. Anyway, that was the second series of the game for complete. And while we get ready for our last series of the day, we're gonna go AFK for 5 minutes. I definitely need it. So anyway, grab your snacks fast. You won't want to miss a single second of Huma and Maz.